Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Takedown, a Splitting Hairs podcast presented by Jackrabbit Illustrated. This is the South Dakota State Wrestling Podcast. I'm joined tonight by my co-host, Jordon Schoenrock. Jordan, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I drove all the way up to Wilmot, if you know where Wilmot is. That's north of the old Summit, which is the treacherous place. I drove up there and back today for work, and I made it home in one piece and didn't put her in the ditch, so I'm doing all right. Got to give a shout out to our sponsors tonight. That would be the world famous Drake's Place in Bottle, South Dakota. I hope the weather's better up there for Robert Drake and the crew. And also, the two places that I drove by today, that would be Culver's of Brookings and Watertown. So, it's NCAA time. The tournaments this weekend. There's nothing else going on in the sports world. You need to be watching wrestling, right?
Yes. I don't think there's any other kind of tournament or anything going on this weekend. It should be a good time to tune into wrestling.
If you're tuned in and you see a little bit of delay on Jordan's end, don't mind that. We had some Wi-Fi issues where he's at right now. They didn't get him situated, so he's hotspotting right now off his phone. And so please forgive him for that. So initial comments, Jordan, what do you want to say?
We made it. We're at the end. Wow.
At the end.
It seems like just a couple weeks ago we were gearing up to get excited for the wrestling season. And here we are 4 or 5 months down the road now.
Well, I must admit the elongated football season kind of changed the front end for me a little bit, and it kind of pushed back our pod a little bit because we was doing other things. And for those of you that missed out on a pod or two we could have done, our apologies, but we were still in football mode, even though we love wrestling more. I think we can both say that, yeah?
Yes, I think that we both bleed blue and yellow all around, so it don't matter what it was. We love it all there.
Yeah, we follow it all. Just wrestling's my jam. Love football too, but we was doing the tailgating thing, and so easy to get a little bit sidetracked by that. So what else you got to have for us, Jordan?
Oh, I don't know. Before we get going too far, since we're all Jackrabbit fans, I just want to wish the girls basketball team luck here in the NCAA tournament starting, I think, Friday. Go Jacks, go Lady Jacks, go knock off USC.
Those Trojans.
Take one down.
That would be great. And I think if we can get past that first round, I know this is a wrestling podcast, I said that, but I think if we can, just real quick, if we can get past that first game, we can make that win, which I think is totally winnable for us. Even though we have a 1 seed next, that's the best of the 1 seeds to have to play. So
I agree.
Me and my friends agree on that.
So a lot of people don't really know this. I actually took a job with RSR. I'm on the road full-time racing now, and we're actually out in Pennsylvania. And I looked it up, and I'm only about 4 hours away. So depending on the weather out here in Pennsylvania this weekend, it's not looking too good for the Outlaws. And maybe I'll be making a trip down south a couple hours to catch that game if they win Friday or against USC. I think it's Friday. Maybe I'll.
Hey, I know you cheered loud, so they'd probably love to have you. And crazily enough, my mind was stuck in wrestling. I was like, no way Pennsylvania's that close to
No.
Like, what is he talking about? My bad. Again, the only thing going on this weekend, wrestling. These are my brackets. We're going to talk about that. Jordan, you want to lead us off on that, or you got other things you want to talk about?
No, I think we're good. Let's just recap Big 12s here quick. At 125, we sent Tanner Jordon, which was what we expected all along. He was the 6th seed. He ended up going 1-2. He won his first match against Cal Baptist and then dropped his next 2. And unfortunately, he did not play. But fortunately, he did the work that he needed to do earlier in the season to get an at-large bid, so he'll be a wild card. He'll be rolling in there in the 32nd seed of the tournament come Thursday.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, Tanner. He's wrestled real tough all season and a lot of close matches. So It's sad to see him get bumped like that. At 133, we got Derek Cardinal. He's our red shirt freshman from Forest Lake. He got decisioned in the first round of McGuire Midkiff out of North Dakota State. We've seen that bout a couple times now. And then he got bounced by Kyle Bisigula from North Dakota State. Bisigula, a hell of a wrestler. We've watched that guy for what seems like forever now. And unfortunately, that was it. He got eliminated. So,
and unfortunately, he did not get a wild card, but he'll be back
no.
stronger next year, and we'll be ready to go.
He's one of the two wrestlers. Sorry to interrupt, but we had 8 of our 10 wrestlers make it onto the NCAA tournament, and that's quite a feat. So, kudos to Han, Cody, and Cam, the staff there, and the other staff too that helped with that. Sorry.
They just to touch on that, we qualified a program high 8 wrestlers this year. Just look back 4.5 years ago when Han got announced, that was over half the team. There was only 15 kids on the roster. 16 of them would have been half. So we qualified more than half the team from 4.5 years ago. Like he said, kudos to Han, Cam, Cody, Brady.
Yep.
Everybody else that's been a part of this the last 4.5 years.
Zilvy's part of that too. Yep. I know that guy's
Zilvy.
got a great podcast too. You got to check out the Rabbit Rant if you haven't already.
It's just crazy. But unfortunately, then at 141, Clay Carlson wrestled for us, which we expected. He was the 5 seed. He went 4-1 of the tournament, defeated Iowa State first round, dropped a 4-2 decision to Carter Young of Oklahoma State the second round. That one was some challenging bricks. I listened to Simez today on their last Tuesday on the radio. He said that the ref said he thought he seen a class, went back to review it himself, said, sorry, the camera angle doesn't show the class. And it took about 5 minutes, and that just kind of got Clay out of the zone. But he bounced back in the wrestlebacks there and defeated Cal Baptist, and then defeated the number 8 seed of Jordon Tidus from West Virginia. And then he defeated Iowa State again to qualify third and be a national qualifier. Iowa State kid is not a slouch at all. He's pretty good. So that was pretty big on Clay there to pick up 2 wins in 2 days against that kid.
Yeah, and I think the West Virginia kid, depending on what you have on your mind, might be Titus. Sorry. Yeah,
hey,
up next.
Hoosier Tires came out with new tires this week, so I've been playing with a lot of tires this week. So.
Okay. Titus. Alex Martin up next at 149 pounds. He ended up 0-2 for the tournament. Unfortunately, got eliminated. He first lost to the kid from Northern Iowa by decision. It's an 8-2 loss, and lost again to Delgado out of Utah Valley, 5-4. But you talked about the camera angle, and I just want to jump back to that a little bit. Is there any way we see 3 cameras put up at like the national championship, at least for the semifinals and the finals? You would think that they could easily do 3 cameras. Maybe wrestling is just too much of an afterthought. That's literally how I got banned from the NCAA wrestling Twitter. I'm no longer allowed to see their tweets on my main account. And that's because of a snafu that was just a great injustice that I said they should fix it. I didn't get too far with my words even, but they blocked me, man. And yeah, I think we should do something. Wrestling should do something about that. It's only fair to the wrestlers and the fans.
So I don't know about cameras, but I do know that Coach Simez did touch on that radio interview that he does every week last Tuesday that at the national tournament there's a review booth. It does not go to the referees on the mat, and that almost doubles the overturned calls come the NCAA tournament. So hopefully that is something that can work out better. I mean, the ref I guess Cam said that the ref even apologizes, like, He's like, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I seen it, but I didn't call it on the mat. Since there's no video evidence, I can't be like, oh, I seen it, but there's not video evidence of that match. And unfortunately, it was just one of them deals where nothing really worked in Clay's favor that match.
Yeah, I mean, those kind of things happen, and refs are human too. As much as we like to get on their case at duels, we got to remember at the end of the day, we don't have a sport without them. So give them guys a little bit of break every now and again, I guess.
Yes. At 157, Kale Swenson returned from his concussion protocol. He went 3-2 on the day. Defeated Nolan Miller Johnston from Cal Baptist in first round. Then he defeated Jared Hill of Oklahoma. And then coming down to the semifinals match, he had North Dakota State's Jared Franken. He dropped a 3-2 decision. I mean, you can't ask Kale to wrestle a better match, really, that match. And then he got bounced back in the wrestlebacks and dropped a 5-4 decision to Iowa State, which Kale had wrestled really good the first period and kind of let off the gas there after that. And there'll be some changes made to that, I feel like, come the tournament. So if he draws him again, that'll be a good matchup. And then he ended up defeating Jared Hill of Oklahoma for 5th place, which qualified him for the national tournament also, which is a huge accomplishment as a redshirt freshman.
Yeah, and we know Swendog's a real dog, right? I mean, that guy wrestles hard almost always. Look at what he did versus Franek from NDSU, and foreshadowing a little bit, we think we might just see that guy again here in the near future. So after that, we had Tanner Cook doing Tanner Cook things, right?
Yes.
He got up and pinned that guy from Air Force. We know the guy, right? Like that was, I was able to watch that while watching the Summit League tournament, right? So I'm like, my phone's out. I'm yelling. I'm at the Tito's bar. I have some. This is going to be a little bit non-PC just here for a second, but I'm at the Tito's bar. I'm watching. I think it was actually AJ's match, and I had a 40-something-year-old mother sitting next to me with no children, but she told me about her kids later. But gal about my age, just maybe a little younger. And I was like, oh man. And she's like, I'm getting excited. And she's like, I was talking about ride time. And she's like, I've never understood wrestling. And I'm like, oh yeah. So like, I'm talking about ride time, and, ride time, you get a point if you have over a minute. So like, if I'm on top of you for at least a minute, and she just let me have it, man. And I was like, hey, no, I didn't mean that. And she gave me a hard time. And it's like, no, it's pretend I'm on top of a guy. And she's like, oh, well, that's better for you. And I'm like, well, if I'm wrestling, yeah. She said, then she's like, oh, I sure hope you last more than a minute. Anyway, so it was kind of fun. We were having some Tito's lemonades, and anyway, so back to Tanner Cook. He got that fall 342, and then he had to wrestle Keegan O'Toole. We'll see in the brackets. He's a highly rated guy. He's number 2 rated in this tournament by major decision, and then he went and beat Baylor Fernandez from Northern Colorado. We've seen that before. Pinned that guy's butt too. 4 minutes and 30 seconds. And then he ended up losing to Cole Moody from Wyoming, and Garrett Nienhaus from Oklahoma. But he ended up 8th place through that, and earned the seed that what are we calling that? I forget what we're calling it. The qualification for nationals that he brought to the Big 12 is, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, qualification.
Yep. Yeah, I gotta say it because I can be cocky right now.
All right, go ahead.
Told you, Northern Colorado fans, that if that kid wanted to wrestle, he would get to it. Like, I was down in Florida during that match, and we had a lot of people sitting around a bar watching the phone waiting to see the fireworks in that match. And that kid I don't know if Tanner had the first words or if that kid had the first words, but there was a little words exchanged afterwards, and guess what? he got pinned, just like we told everybody on Twitter that wanted to tell us we didn't know what we were talking about. This kid is so good. Like, it could have changed the outcome of the duel. And, like, dude, your kid was dirty the first time, and your kid got stuck the second time.
And if I remember correctly, he almost got pinned earlier than that pin, right? So Tanner had his ass, and then they were out of bounds, I think is what happened. He got lucky on that deal. I mean, the end result was what we expected. And then the guy was kind of a little bee about it at the end there, it looked like to me. That's just my opinion. So,
yes, mine too. And then 174, we sent DeVos, which is what we expected. He went 3-1. He was the only kid to receive a first round bye. Then he lost to Sam Wolf from Air Force 3-2, second round. Then he beat Northern Colorado, and then he beat Iowa State, and then he beat Tate Piccolo of Oklahoma, which, if you guys remember, that was a match we did not show up and wrestle very well in. So we got redemption there. We beat him 6-1. Huge win there at 6-1. Showed that maybe we weren't ready to wrestle that day in Brookings, and we were definitely ready down here in Tulsa, and ended up getting third, qualifying his spot for the national qualifier.
One thing about this, though, keep this in mind. This is an opinion from me. Cade DeVos seems to always wrestle better in tournaments. He's a tournament wrestler. I don't know why, but look at what he's done in the past. The Southern Scuffle, CK. He's always been excellent at tournaments. He seems to have more letdowns in duels. I don't know why, but that bodes well for the NCAAs, does it not?
Yes, 100%. And he had some. I mean, that's where we learned about Cade DeVos, was at the whatever tournament he won his freshman year.
Oh yeah,
that placed really well against in his redshirt freshman year, and that was definitely where Cade came on, and he is definitely a tournament wrestler.
He is. Yeah. Say what you want, but that dude just straight deals in tournaments. Up next, we had Cade King. Was ranked number 7th. He's from Waseca, and he's one of our seniors. He lost to Noah Blake out of Air Force by sudden victory, or excuse me, by a decision. And then lost. He got a win. Then after that, he wrestled the kid from Carmen from West Virginia. He beat him. And then he ended up losing to DJ Parker from NDSU, which always stinks to get bumped by that guy. But he got 7th place. It was a pretty quality finish. I don't know what else to say there. I'm sure he'd like to have a couple more points in some of those matches.
Yeah, I know we got a fan that's a fan of this kid, but to find out what happened at 184 was quite interesting. As you guys noticed, we didn't say that he had a placing match on Sunday, and he ended up 7th. The kid, Keegan Moore, he was the Oklahoma kid. He upset us here a couple weeks ago. He's a senior, 6-year senior. He wasn't going to get an at-large bid no matter what. And after the first night on Saturday night, I guess he just said, screw it, looked at his coaches and said, I ain't wrestling on Sunday. I ain't making weight. And kind of just walked off the mat and refused to make weight. And so he led to a forfeit, which led to Cade getting 7th in the tournament. So Cade did not actually have a match on Sunday because the Keegan Moore decided to not want to make weight his last time ever wrestling. He was over it.
Yeah, it's crazy what happens. Sometimes, things that you think are a sure thing aren't. Like me giving Paul Saylor a shot. I guess I still owe him one. I know that I promised him one. I'll make right on it. Don't worry. Don't worry your pretty little head, Med. I will give you a shot for sure. It will probably be a single because I don't want you to sprawl on me in a double, but I'm not sure that's what he's talking about. Oh, he's talking about alcohol. Anyway, bad wrestling pun there. Up next, we have the man, Tanner Sloan came in number 1 in that tournament, and he goes out, starts off, and wins with a pin versus the California Baptist kid, Gerlach. He pinned the kid from Oklahoma. He major decision, the kid from Oklahoma State, and then he ended up losing a close match to Rocky Elam, and so he got second place. I think he's another tournament wrestler. I know he wrestles really well in duels too. I'm not taking that away from him, but he does excellent in tournaments when he's healthy, and we have a healthy Tanner Sloan. Tanner Sloan is going to do really well in this next tournament. He is the guy to watch that I'm most excited about, I guess. I like them all, but I'm most excited about Tanner, our senior here. And I think he's going to shock some people.
Yes. Tanner got rode out, and the SDSU coaching staff is not happy about that. And I'm sure Tanner himself is not happy about that. And I'm really looking forward to a potential rematch here against Rocky, because I think there's a couple changes that have been made or will be made. And I think that's going to be a battle of just as good as it was for the championship match. Very technical wrestling, and I think it'll be a good rematch if we get it this coming weekend. Our last wrestler to qualify was 285, AJ Nevels, who was the 4 seed. He ended up placing 6th. He defeated North Dakota State in sudden victory. First round. Second round, he won 3-2 over West Virginia. Then he lost to Air Force, which, I mean, we all know how good Air Force is this year. He got tech-falled by him. And then he dropped a 2-0 decision to Tyrell Gordon of Northern Iowa to play 6th, which still qualified him for the national tournament. He's got one more tournament in the blue and yellow, and then unfortunately we see him leave. But I think that's all going to go good for him, hopefully, and maybe an upset or two that we'll talk about later that could really help.
Yeah, I mean, just for some perspective, right now, Wyatt Hendrickson from Air Force is the number 2 overall in heavyweight. And there's a lot of really good guys up and down the line, Cassiope and all those guys. But he's number 2. That's pretty darn good. That being said, AJ beat a number what was that kid ranked at the time that he beat? Didn't he?
Top 5.
That was that. What was his name? Shoot, now I can't remember. Schultz, Colton Schultz.
Yep.
From ASU. He beat him in the Cliff Keens, and he's ranked 5th in the tournament. So AJ has the skills, the tools, and we are very blessed to have this quality of a guy and this quality of a heavyweight wrestling at SDSU. So don't miss his matches, because you'll regret it later if you don't get to see him live. Speaking of that, this is going to be live on ESPN, right? That's ESPN 2. Is that right?
So,
it depends on it's ESPNU. Then, okay, go ahead.
Yep. So the first round will be starting at 11 a.m. Thursday morning. You'll be able to watch that on ESPNU. These are all Central Time. Second round will be Thursday at 6 p.m. and that will be live on ESPN. Friday, 11 a.m. again, we're back for another round on ESPNU with Friday night's coverage starting at 7 p.m. on ESPN. And then Saturday will be the final day. It will start at 10 a.m. on ESPNU. And And the medal rounds and final matches will be at 6 p.m. on ESPN. So it's a good way to watch a weekend of wrestling here coming up this weekend. So that should be a good way to send our 8 Jackrabbits off to end the season here.
That being said, I think all these things are available on the Watch ESPN app if you have ESPN Plus. I think you can get all those. So if you don't have a way to watch them, I think it's still available on your phone. If not, call me. I'll get you hooked up with Pirate TV. I'm just kidding. Not really. So that brings us to the team scores, right? And
Yes.
why don't you go ahead and talk about that? Go ahead.
Okay, so Missouri kind of was expected. They went out and won the team competition 148 with 148 points. Oklahoma State finished second with 134. Iowa State finished third with 131. Then Oklahoma, they got 197 points. Then NDSU, they had 100 or they had 89 points. And then South Dakota State, we finished with 86.5 points, which was for sixth place. I mean, I knew we'd be in between the fourth and the sixth. I
Yeah,
knew Oklahoma, NDSU, and us were all going to be really tight right there.
that just goes to show you where this program's progressed to. We know we can beat North Dakota State head on head. If we have some better matches versus Oklahoma, we beat them. We're definitely in the upper echelon of the Big 12. I mean, and the Big 12 is just doing this. It's getting better and better. So I guess that goes on to we're gonna move on to the championships, huh?
I guess it's that time.
It's
I
that
want to give a
time.
shout out here. If you guys want to get in on a little pool here, one of my old teammates here, he's actually one of the wrestling coaches here on. His name's Caden Doris. Look him up on Facebook. He does a $25 pool, $25. You Venmo him. He's got a set of rules, and they do a tournament bracket. So if you guys want to get in on this with us, feel free to find him on Facebook, or I shared it on my Facebook, and you guys can join the league for $25 for the weekend, and it's 100% payback. It's pretty fun there. So that's what I did my bracket to do.
That's cool. So you're talking about wrestling brackets?
Yes, NCAA wrestling brackets.
Right.
Go ahead. I spell my name with Jordon, and then Schoenrock is just Shoenrock. You can head to my Facebook page. I shared it the other day. I know that it's got to be in either tonight or tomorrow, I think. So if you want to do it, it's something to get onto. But yeah, they do it's $25 Venmo bracket type deal. He's got different sets of rules. You can only pick so many wrestlers, stuff like that. It's a pretty cool deal. He runs it very well. I did it last year for the first year, and I'll be returning this year to do it again.
Cool. So the big deal here. Oops, that's the wrong screen. I got to swap screens here. Hold on a second. Alt tab. We've got, and then I got to get to the right spot. So we've got guys here. Let me share that again. We've got guys coming through, and I don't know if that's big enough. People can see it, but I hope it is. So at 125 pounds, our wrestler is Tanner Jordon. Now, Tanner Jordon has to wrestle the equivalent of, if you're used to a play-in game on the big dance, so to speak, he's got to go up against Tucker Owens out of Air Force, ranked number 33. And Jordan, what's your thoughts on that match? I think he wins it. I'm sure you have
I
more
got
to
it
say.
now taking that first match there for us.
It's a pretty good matchup, right? And then he ends up wrestling Spencer Lee. Well, sorry, Tanner. Love you, bud. But I don't think you've got a really good chance of beating Spencer Lee, barring something unforeseen happening. That one, go out there and wrestle your butt off. You got nothing to lose. That's about all I can say about that, which takes us down into the wrestlebacks, or the pigtails, as some people call it. And at which point he would wrestle, he'd be the loser of number 11. And that's, you can follow these numbers. It's easy to follow, but amazingly difficult all at the same time. Easy to get lost, but Tanner would end up wrestling the kid from Army. And I think he can win that one for sure. Pretty confident he can get that one. And then he ends up wrestling the winner, or the loser, excuse me, of this bracket here, 188, which would be Pat Glory versus Unger from Cornell. Pat Glory's probably going to end up in the finals. He's a legit number 2 from Princeton. And I don't know. What's your thoughts? He's got to wrestle the 15 kid from Cornell.
Yeah, I don't know. Me personally, looking at the bracket, I think we see Tanner win the first one. And then, I'm going to big spoiler alert here. Spencer Lee's my pick at 125 to win the national tournament. So obviously I see him losing that one too. And then I don't know, that Army match, that's going to be a pretty tough one also. I actually don't know if we'll get out of that one. I kind of got us going 1 and 2 in the tournament here, which is an okay deal for being a at-large bid here at the end. Win one, that's pretty big.
I think so. He's had a good year. He's continued to progress, and I could see that second match going either way. We didn't qualify our 133 pounder, so up next we got 141.
I'm just going to go out on a limb here quick on that one. I'll tell you, I think RBY is going to be the national champion in that.
Oh yeah, such a limb. You're going out on such a limb, picking the number 1 seed overall. Now that being said, Dalton Fix has some revenge, perhaps, and he's wrestled him tough. But at the end of the day, RBY has Fix's number, bud, and it's gonna be a great match. It's always a good match, but yes, Dalton Fix. Sorry, brother, that's gonna be 4 losses in 4 years, right? So that's pretty rough. But think about this: that's 4 finals in 4 years. How many people can say that? But you had to wrestle a guy that's okay, that much better than you. That's tough, but you don't give up. That's why they wrestle the matches. You never know.
Yes.
So at 141, who you got? What are we talking about?
So at 141, we got Clay. He's rolling in here with the 11 seed. He's going to take on Hines from Lehigh. I got Clay taking this first match, I think. Good matchup there, hopefully, which then is going to put him up against Penn State or Campbell. I'm going to go with Penn State winning that one, and then that's going to be a matchup. I think that
that's going to be a tough match. He's got to wrestle his butt off.
Guys that have been in the Penn State room before on our side, and I kind of hope that he can help a little bit there with some things. And he wasn't too far off on weight with this kid. I don't know what year this kid is for Penn State even, but I'm hoping that maybe we can catch some weaknesses that somebody's learned that's now on our side that was in the room, and we can hopefully win that one. If not, we bounce back to the wrestlebacks, and I think that the wrestlebacks is where Clay makes his money at.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is where he's going to do it.
And I think that Clay will come out here and will be a low 6, 7, or 8 place All-American this year.
Yeah, he's got some tough competition if you go by chalk. You got Belton from Oregon State, I think he is. Happel from UNI, he's beat him before for sure, right?
Yep.
And then Hart out of Missouri. If we just chalk it down, which gets him to the I guess All-American again. So that's not terrible. I think I agree with you. I think we see Clay All-American. He's just got to show up and wrestle hard. Yeah, like we know he can.
I think he'll be a high place All-American, which I think as Jackrabbit fans, we can look around and the season that he had this year, I don't think we can be disappointed in a low or a high All-American place this year for him. I don't think it's been anything that anybody's really thought Clay was going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So after that would be the 149 bracket, which we don't have anyone in. What's your thoughts on that? Do you want to issue your spoiler on yours? You going chalk again?
I'll go the Cornell kid. I'm blanking how to say
Yanni Dacamahalis. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. I think odds on favorite for him. I think he's going to be a 4-time, right? So him.
I believe
Oh no,
so.
that's RBY. My bad. RBY, right?
I
RBY
think
and
Yanni, RBY, and Lee are all going for 4-time.
well, I don't know about Yanni, but the other two.
Okay.
So potentially. So I mean, he's probably going to be matched up with Sasso at the end, and I think yes, I think Cornell gets another national champion. So then we have Buck 57. You want to take that away?
Sure. 157. I got um we got Swen's dog. Obviously, we talked about. He's coming in as a 20th seed. He's got nothing to lose as the 20th seed.
Nothing.
Um, so our first match is against Northwestern, Chumley. Um, and I know we talked to Kale about this earlier in the season, when he was on our pod about this kid, because I remember joking about
Yep.
Pawn Stars a little bit.
On
But
stars a little bit. Yep.
um, I think that was a close match back in the day, and I think Kale's wrestling the best he's ever wrestled. Every time he steps on the mat right now, I think we could see an upset there. And I mean, according to rankings, it's an upset.
Right.
And then he
Right.
rolls out against NDSU's Jared Franken and
Fairneck.
Fairneck, sorry.
Fairneck. Yep.
And that is another match that Jared better be careful. It was only a 3-2 match at Big 12. It was like we could I'll just say that I got him going to the blood round,
Fairneck.
Swen's dog, but an upset or two away from making a name for himself that nobody really knows who he is yet. He's very capable of doing.
Yeah, if he can get past Jared, then he would end up wrestling at least by chalk that Humphreys kid from Lehigh, who by chalk's one spot lower than Franek. Franek? Franek. I think Franek. Anyway, if he can beat Franek and then, like you said, beat this guy, that's an AA. And, shoot, that would be killer. Of course, then he would have to wrestle Austin O'Connor, who's had himself a heck of a year. And he's another one of those undefeated wrestlers, kid from UNC. Yeah, I mean, I think we see him end up down in the wrestlebacks. Just depends on where he enters, and if he can get past the first two, boy, that makes it a lot easier to go through. So, yeah, I think Kale's underrated, man. He's an exciting guy to watch. He's one of my one of the more exciting guys on our team, in my opinion. He just continually gets better and better and better, as we've pointed out before on this pod. I wouldn't count him out of beating the NDSU kid. It was a really close match, like you had said earlier, and yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's unrealistic to think that Kale could AA, and if he does that, that's something pretty cool, and that's quite the accomplishment. So,
Yep, it is going to take a couple upsets. I think I got him losing out one round before the placing round, but as a freshman, it'll be okay. But like I said, upset here or there. That's why they show up to wrestle, and we'll see how he rolls out there. There's a chance.
you only got to beat the four kid and the 5 kid, So if you beat the 4 kid when you wrestle him before the 5 kid, in theory, you should be able to beat him. There you are. It's right there. Go get 3 wins in a row, bud. If you're on the positive side, all you need is 3 wins. In the wrestlebacks, it takes 4 total. But if you guys aren't familiar with that, then I'm going to let you take 165 again, because that's your boy. Go ahead.
So 165 is Mr. Cook. He's coming as a 22 seed. He's going to go up against the number 11 seed first round from Michigan. This kid's 12-3 on the season, but if you listen to Damian Hahn's press conference leading into the national championships, that he feels like this is a very winnable match. This Michigan kid, he kind of said I don't remember if he said lazy or whatever, but he wrestles to a style that Tanner Cook likes to put you in places to do. So that's a very winnable match. And if he wins that, I mean, you never know with Tanner Cook. You might as well throw everything out the window because he's just here to be a bracket buster. And I think Flo even said that, if I seen your share right today.
Yep. That I actually posted that last night. Flo has him as a dark horse just because anybody that really watches wrestling and has watched Tanner Cook understands how dangerous he is. In fact, he's so dangerous. Let's be honest. He's so dangerous that when we wrestled Missouri last year, they held out Keegan O'Toole just in case. That's why. The guy wasn't hurt. The guy hadn't been missing wrestling. He wasn't so old that they were saving him. They've been wrestling him every match this year. They were legitimately afraid of Tanner Cook, and as they should be. If Tanner gets the win, then he's in the 226 bracket, and he'll probably end up, all barring anything crazy happening, wrestling Patrick Kennedy. Now, I don't know, has he wrestled him before? Are you aware of? From Iowa? Yeah, he already wrestled him this year, right?
No, we didn't wrestle.
Or last year. Was that last year?
Maybe it was last year.
It was last year. Yeah, it was last year. I don't remember what the history is there, but like you said, anything could go. Chalk would say that the Iowa kid would win.
And I mean,
but
chalk-wise, I got Cook losing in the round of 16 or the round of 12. He's going to be 1 or 2 rounds out from AA. But like we've said, wrestling's wrestling, and you show up to wrestle for that reason.
Yeah, and I got it. I've kind of planned it out where he could in theory go all the way down and potentially be wrestling in the match to get into the third place. Just depending on how things happen, dude's electric. And I'd like to see him do well. I really would. So it'd be great if he could AA. I don't know that I see it necessarily happening, but I'd love to see it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So then we move on to a friend of the pod in 174 pounds, Cade DeVos. And like we were saying, this kid is a tournament wrestler. He is. That's just where he does well. It's the same wrestling, but that's when he does well. And I really like Cade's chances here. He's got a decent seed. What's your thoughts?
Oh, I think the same thing. If he shows up to wrestle, you don't know. And I actually think that if Cade can pull the upset here against, chalked in, penciled in, you got Cade winning the first match, and then he's going to take on Chris Foca of Cornell. And I think that's a winnable match for Cade. If he can pull that upset, we're into the semis, which then leads to AAing.
I have that exact same thing down on my bracket, Jordan. I think he can do it. I think he really can. He just needs to, believe in himself. He's been wrestling top 10 guys all year, wrestling them tight, and he's beat some of them. And Foca's really good, but I think he can beat him. Like you said. If not, he would drop down into the wrestlebacks where I still have an AA. I have Cade. If he wrestles hard, I have him AA.
I got him one
simple.
match out of AA, and he'll be beat out of the blood, I think.
You think
but
so?
I hope I'm wrong.
You think he's going to lose the Missouri kid?
Yes. I think that's just coming through the wrestlebacks. I think that's just a match that, unfortunately, we probably don't win.
And see, I have him as the tournament wrestler that he is, and I think he gets over that hump, beats this number 7 kid there if he ends up on that side, and I think he AAs. So it's okay. If we agreed on everything, this wouldn't be very interesting, would it?
Yeah, no.
So up next is something that we probably do agree on, 184 pounds, and I'll let you go there.
Yeah, so 184, we got Cade King, which was also an at-large. His first match will be against Minnesota. I just don't see that match going too well. I think we'll lose that match. It's a winnable match if Cade
It
King
is.
shows up. But right now, I just don't really foresee. I mean, I don't know. Like, he's got some high quality wins earlier in the year, but not some great wins or losses at the end of the year. And I just think that if Cade can get out of this little slump he's in, we're fine. But if Cade King does not, I think we lose that first match. Then we'll be bounced back to wrestle Brian Obino from Drek. What I can't get
Drexel.
the
Drexel.
Yeah, Drexel. There we go.
Yep, the
And
Drexel kid.
I mean, that's
That's
going to be
winnable.
another match if Cade King shows up or not. That's a winnable match. But I don't know. Just if Cade bounces that match or not will be time to tell. I got him going 1-2 or 0-2. I think unfortunately, I don't think we see an AA out of Cade King this year at 184.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like his draw. I'm going to say it. I don't think he got a particularly great draw, but that's what happens when you back your way into a tournament, right? That's not the way you want to enter a tournament. You want to enter a tournament winning. And like you said, at the end of the season, he seemed to have his fair share of struggles with guys that he would normally you would expect him to do well against. They're always close matches, and that does not help. But yeah, I don't see him winning the first one. I see him winning the second one, and then getting bounced after that, unfortunately. So, loved watching Cade King wrestle. He's a stud, no doubt, but a lot of studs in 84.
Yes.
Who do you have? Who do you have on your dance card? Do you think
at 84?
Do you think Kekison gets it done? The you and I guy?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, like there's a pretty good shot he does.
Well, they got that Hidley or Hilde. How do you say that? Hidley from NC State. I don't know why the Wolfpack. That's too hard for me. He's got one loss this year, and I think it was to Kekison. But I have him avenging that. I think he gets the win there, and UNI does not get another national champion, which hurts my feelings a lot. I have not a lot of animosity towards UNI, but they're in our conference, so
yes. So then we can run to 197. I mean, I think this is. I think we can all say it. This is our hope for highest placer this year at the NCAA tournament. Which we got Tanner Sloan. He's seeded 7th going in. He's got a draw against Ohio State. Kid's name's Gavin Hoffman. First round. These guys, I don't remember if Gavin. We've wrestled him in the past. I think Damien touched on it in his. I don't remember the exact thing. This kid might even be an older AA.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Sloan wrestles Sloan's way. We win that one. And then we're going to roll here to
the 251 bracket.
Yep. So then we're going to have the
kid from Cornell, right?
Yep.
Cardenza.
And I think that that's another match. We're going to have to wrestle, but I think that's a winnable match. I know that a lot of matches are pulling for this Oklahoma State kid to pull this bottom half, this Luke Serber. And, I mean, if that's that case, I'm confident against him. We've dominated twice this year. If not, you got probably the Paul kid, Bernie, and I'll take that matchup because I'll be 100% honest with you. 197 is wide open, and I'll even be more honest with you. I think Rocky's probably one of the best kids there, and we're just wrestled with Rocky. And I think that's kind of how it's going to roll out there. And then coming into the semis, I think we see a matchup against Rocky. And that's going to be another Big 12 rematch. And if we win it, I think we win the national tournament. We lose it, we wrestle back and get third.
I see that going pretty much the exact same way. That True Owl kid, from Cal Poly. He's the one to beat. If you can get past him in the quarters, I guess if you want to call it that, we're going to get in the semifinals, and we wrestle Elam, as you were saying. So I have two matches circled on my paper, and it's match 376 there and match 518, and that's Truau and Elam. So if I think he can, I fully believe Tanner Sloan can end up in the finals, in which case he's wrestling the Bonakorski kid from Pitt.
Yes.
Kid's a stud too, right? Tanner, you just got to go out and wrestle your way and just stick it to him, grit your teeth and just make him work. I think you can do it, man. And I have him AAing regardless. If he ended up bouncing on the Truau kid, then he would end up wrestling younger Bastida potentially to AA. And, I think he can do that. So,
I think we'll be top 5. I'm hoping here at 197 this year.
Yeah, it could go a couple different ways. I mean, that's just how wrestling brackets work. If you're watching this channel, I ain't probably telling you nothing you don't know. So if you stuck with us that far, and then we have the heavyweight championship bracket. I don't see anybody beating Mason Paris from Michigan in this tournament. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Wyatt, but I don't think he's quite that good. So our guy, AJ, I think I like his first matchup. I think he wins that one, beats the kid from Duke, Nessenbaum. But then he's got to wrestle Cassiope. And I have a lot of faith in AJ, but Cassiope very, very likely could be in the finals. I can see him beating Hendrickson. I think he might be a better wrestler, actually. So,
you got that messed up, bud.
That's Kirkfleet. Sorry, my bad. Kirkfleet, also a very good wrestler. Who did I say?
You said Cassiope.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. That's the other Cassiope, and that's why I got confused. I meant Greg Kirkfleet. I know the difference. My apologies. And Kirkfleet is who I was talking about. He's a really good wrestler. I don't see him beating Mason Paris, but I think he might be a better wrestler than Wyatt Hendrickson. So I haven't looked back on their records to see, but I have him losing that next match, the 257 match, and then that's where he gets bounced, where he would potentially rematch with the kid from Oklahoma State, and I think he wins that. And then he's got to get 2 more. He's got to wrestle probably the kid from Wisconsin, and then the kid from Iowa State. And if he can beat that kid from Iowa State, he'll AA. I'd love to see it, man. Nothing would make me happier than seeing that guy get an AA on his way out.
NCAA tournament actually predicted him as the sleeper at heavyweight. Is AJ in there right up for somebody to watch that could AA? That's really not supposed to. Is AJ? I think hopefully we win that first one. Then we're gonna go up against Greg, another Penn State kid, hoping that we got a guy on the inside that can help a little bit there. We pull that upset.
A little bit, you're gonna need him more than a little bit. I'm really sorry. The difference between the top 2-3 guys in heavyweight and the next 5 guys is big in my opinion.
Yes.
Just how it is.
If we can pull an upset, I think we AA. If we lose, I think we end up losing in the blood round. We come up 1 match short, which sucks, but unfortunately, they take 33 kids to this tournament, and only 8 walk out with a medal at the end of it.
So you have the Iowa State kid at least chalk.
Yes.
Get advancing at that point in us.
Yo.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a big match. We got to get there first, but I believe in AJ and I believe he can AA. So I'm pulling for you, brother. I love watching you wrestle. I don't want it to stop. I want to watch some more matches, and you're just going to have to gut it out like you've been doing all the year. Just remember when you wrestled that kid. What the heck was his name? Schultz. And he was wrestled. He was ranked. Was he ranked number 1 at the time? I want to say he was. Maybe 3. He
Yeah,
was ranked quite high.
3.
3, maybe 3. Okay, so say it's 3. You can beat that guy. You can beat anybody in this tournament on the wrestlebacks. So make it happen.
Yes.
Because you could see that guy again. If he wins that, then by chalk, guess who he gets matched up with in the next round? Same kid.
Yep.
So what else do we want to say here? We got the gathering that we're gonna have down in Tulsa. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So from the SDSU Twitter page, they're doing a reception Saturday, 3/18. It's the date. It's Saturday. It's in between the sessions before the finals and the placing round. You have to register beforehand. Go ahead to jackrabbitwrestlingclub.com and register. If you purchased your ticket through SDSU, you don't need to register to attend, but there's that. You can get on there to look at the flyer. It's from 2 to 5:30. It's at the Daily Grill Restaurant and Bar. It's hors d'oeuvres are provided. Cash bar. Once again, registration is required. It's $20 for adults, $10 for kids. Yeah, it's another kind of deal going on for everything, and that's a good way to kill some time before hopefully we're going to watch Tanner Sloan wrestle for a national title.
Yeah, man, it's totally possible. It's he's been talked about by different pundits and wrestling community for being there. So it's that's not outlandish to believe. Yep. So Saturday, March 3rd, 18th, 2023 here. And Jackrabbit Wrestling Club's putting that on. Go get yourself a few drinks and rub elbows with other wrestling fans. Jordan Hoffman's on. Thanks for being on tonight, bud. Want to say hi to you. See you chimed in. So thanks. We didn't have a lot for comments tonight, so that's it, Jordan. I don't really have anything else. I'm really excited for this tournament and to watch some of these things. I'll probably be watching on my phone at work. Shh, don't tell anybody. But I can work and watch wrestling at the same time. I promise. Only when our matches are going on, I probably will have to take my 15-minute breaks. About somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 minutes at a time. So
yes, I mean, with my job now being on the road full-time racing, we'll have to find some time here afterwards to hopefully do a ending recap podcast here in the next couple weeks, and hopefully we'll be able to bring some kids on that AA and hear their story to becoming AAs for us. So
right, yes.
That ain't done yet.
If we get AAs, we're going to bring them on if at all possible. And I assure you, we will not miss having another podcast if Tanner Sloan gets to the finals. We will be definitely having one. We'll have one anyway, but we'll find a way to get Tanner on. We'll pull some strings and maybe we'll have Coach and Tanner on because that'd be quite the thing. I think that's it, isn't it?
Yep. Be on the lookout in case some upsets happen. Maybe I'll have to be on my way to Tulsa to give Cade DeVos his login for his national title to get Twitter. That we made that deal a couple.
Yeah, we did.
You never know. But
yeah,
the Twitterless Cade will have to join if he can pull some upsets, and let's just hope that everyone goes and has fun here this last weekend and enjoy it. And remember, we got 7 as of now. Knock on wood, due to transfer portal and stuff like that, we got 7 national qualifiers returning next year to the team. So buy your season tickets when they come out. Get invested now and enjoy the rest of this year and start of next next year.
believe you can actually buy them now if you call the Jackrabbit Ticket office or go online at jackrabbittickets.com, I guess it is. Speaking of Twitter, follow Jordan. He's at Dakota Report. I'm Chad at Slow Show. It's in my name there. We'll have some updates for you. Probably have a few opinions because, if there's something that doesn't go our way, we'll probably have an opinion on it. And by that, I mean something that didn't go our way that should. So,
yes.
I think
Thursday, I'll for sure be live tweeting some out. Friday and Saturday, we're supposed to be racing at the Grove in Lincoln. Depending on weather, it'll be if I can just send any tweets out or not. Big 12s, unfortunately, we were racing, so I was a couple days late on updates there. But once again, if I'm not tweeting, follow Chad, follow Jackrabbits Wrestling. We'll make sure information gets out to you guys and everybody knows how it's going.
All right, with that, I think we get a Go Jacks on 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Go Jacks.
Get Jack.